Right, so we're coming here live. We've got our next edition of Let's Talk Property. I'm standing here with Ron. We're in San Diego, and you're probably going to laugh because we've got a very unique thing behind us. And no, we're not sitting in a stadium. We're actually at an investment opportunity here in San Diego. But Ron, before we start talking about you, where are we? I mean, us South Africans and people from Africa, we don't really recognize the stadium behind us.
Right, Scott. This is America's finest city. We're in San Diego, downtown area, and we're looking over the San Diego Padres baseball field.
Okay, fantastic. I mean, guys, can you imagine a building that looked out over Loftus or Newlands? This is pretty spectacular. We're up on the deck here, and you can actually pretty much watch the game.
Yeah.
Pretty, there's nothing on behind us. But more importantly, I mean, we're here to talk property.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, I met you 2 years ago. You've been actively involved in the property market here in San Diego for a long time. I'm very privileged to be able to share a bit of time again with you this morning to get an update.
Right.
Tell us yourself, your background, and what's happening in the market.
Sure. I grew up in the real estate business. Father was a contractor, mom a broker, so I kind of grew up in the business. My wife and I are both brokers. We moved to San Diego about 14 years ago. We did a lot of the projects downtown. My wife and I did about 6 of the high-rise projects you see probably behind us. So we closed over about 2,000 units just ourselves in the last 6 years.
Okay.
As you know, San Diego got a little hit. California did as a whole.
What did, when you say it got hit, I mean, what would, I know it's a generalization, but I mean,
Sure.
what were the numbers? Did it come off 20%, 30%, 50%?
Up to 50% some areas.
50%?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, definitely. So what we did is we shifted the market and we worked with more distressed properties. We worked with the banks, we worked with short sales. We would find properties at a good discount, and then we would rehab the properties and resell them to our buyers.
Okay. So I mean, I've been trying to get up to space with the lingo and everything. You've been calling that the flippers and the buy and the holes, yes, and REOs. What does REO stand for?
Real estate owned property. So that's when the bank is actually taking back the property.
Okay. So you've been buying that sort of stuff. You've been rehabbing, which we would call renovating, and then basically selling on to an end user, basically.
Correct.
Now tell me, you were giving me, and you've sent me all the examples. If anyone's interested, I can give them the numbers. But you just done one recently again with a home here in San Diego,
right.
$200,000. Tell us just a little bit about that project.
Yeah, it's an area of San Diego. It's called Paradise Hills. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. We picked it up from the bank at $200,000. It's a cash transaction. Our construction team handled the rehab. About $20,000 into the rehab. So we put that back on the market at $289. Okay. We are just closed escrow last week at $289.
289. So I mean, you're looking at quite significant returns, and that was quite quickly as well. You know, how long did the rehab take you?
The rehab process was about 3 weeks.
Okay.
And that includes painting inside and out, new kitchens, new bathrooms, and landscape. So it's a quick process. We're in and out.
Okay. So I mean, realistically or conservatively, we could say 90 days you'd be in and out completely.
With the escrow process and from start to finish, about 90 days.
90 days, fantastic. So my last question is, property is all about the rental demand. We can buy whatever at a 50% discount and think we're hell of a clever,
right.
but unless we have tenants. What is the tenancy market like in San Diego? If I do buy stuff and I want to hold it, or even if I want to buy and flip it, are the buyers out there? You mentioned end users. Let me ask you the one question and then the second one. Okay. So as the buyers, okay, you mentioned the end users. The reason that they like to buy it could be first-time homeowners, but they don't have the ability to be able to do the renovations themselves. They don't have the cash, etc. So the question is, are there the first-time homeowners in the market? Are there people out there buying at the moment?
Yes, that's really a key component to our market right now. Anything over the $500,000 mark. There's FHA financing, VA financing. So there's financing that allows...
Just for the record, that government-backed financing to help first-time owners.
Correct.
Yep.
On the FHA, it's 3.5% down.
Okay.
On the VA financing, it's as low as 0 down. Okay. So first-time home buyers are able to get a home.
Okay. So they're out there. There are people. I mean, you mentioned earlier the confidence is coming back into the market.
Yeah, definitely buyer confidence. Yes.
Buyer confidence coming back. And employment, you mentioned that was up as well?
Definitely employment has increased. So that's allowing the buyer confidence. They're out there capable of getting the loans. And so they have the confidence to get back to the market.
Perfect. And my last question was, and I alluded to it a little bit earlier, but the tenants, the rental demand. Is there, has the oversupply been sapped up? I mean, you mentioned something, and I've got to bring it up because it's classic. You said in 2003, 2004, the national bird of San Diego was the crane.
Correct.
And I don't know if we can see one, but there's actually just one little crane on the skyline. And that was basically the crane being a tower crane doing construction. And for many years, there's been none now. 5, 6, 7 years. They're starting to come back.
Yeah.
Tell us just a little bit about that, both from a supply perspective and then obviously a demand with regards to tenants.
Sure. The crane has come back. It's a great thing for us in San Diego. The market in San Diego, about 4 or 5 years ago, we probably had about 2,000 homes on the market downtown. We're down to 177 right now.
Okay.
So the demand is back. So new construction is starting to go down. We have a strong rental market. Unfortunately, a lot of the folks that in San Diego, they lost their house. They still have a significant amount of income coming in. They have good credit besides the loss of their home. So they need a place to live. It's a short-term fix.
Yeah.
So the rental market is really strong for a short-term fix right now.
Okay. And my very last question is, where do you see us going over the next 5 years? You know, I don't ask you to have a crystal ball better than anyone else,
Right.
but you have been in the market 14 years. You certainly know better than I do. And as you said, a couple of cranes coming back into the market, a couple of new projects coming in. You know, as an investor, you said to me 2011 was probably the bottom of the market.
Right.
I'm not going to hold that to
Right.
you know to it, but in the next 5 years, how do you see it going basically?
We see the market picking up definitely. I think our prices have dropped down to what they were back in 2002 before we hit our spike. So now they've come back and we're starting to see a raise in pricing. The demand is definitely back, and we see new construction not only downtown but in the suburban areas, which we haven't seen in the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And so the demand is back, lack of supply, so we're starting to see more construction. So I see the next 5 years we're only going to increase from here.
Perfect. Well, Ron, thanks very much for your time. From a spectacular view, I really didn't expect to sit in front of an American baseball pitch, but I look forward to going and seeing the opportunities.
All right, Scott.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Perfect, man. That was spot on.